Hi, this is Karen. Welcome to our home, and this is the first lesson in a series. I'm just going to give you kind of a little sampling lesson today, but it's one of my favorite classes to do when someone comes up to me and says, well, I've never learned chords, but I'd like to. So welcome, and we'll be doing a series on this in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And let's get started. I'll show you how to make 60 chords in 5 minutes. Okay, when you first want to decide that you want to learn to play chords, if you're already a note reader, learning chords is kind of frustrating because there's many different ways to do it, many different methods. A lot of you may have had a book like this that has like master chord charts. When you look at it, you go, oh my gosh, how am I going to learn and remember all these chords? It doesn't tell you why you're learning what you're learning. It just has pictures with little spots on it and finger numbers, and so consequently you'll learn one chord at a time and memorize it. It's like learning to read by memorizing the words and not using phonics. So my method actually teaches you to understand chords and why you're playing the notes you're playing and how to use them later on for more advanced things when you're ready to move on out of the basics. So a long time ago, I came across this method, and I call it the D Chord Method. And the D Chord Method is just two numbers, sets of 4s and 3s. So it says a major chord is 43, a minor chord is 34, a diminished chord is 33, and an augmented chord is 44. Now right now that doesn't really mean much of anything to you until you look at the piano. When you look at a keyboard, you'll see, how it's divided, but the distance between two notes is called a half step or a half tone. So from an F to a F sharp is a half tone, and from an F sharp to a G is a half step or a half, whatever you want to call it. From G to A is a whole step because there's a note in between. Half step, whole step. So the numbers represent half steps and whole steps. So if you have to understand how to name the notes on the keyboard before you can actually find them. So if you find a group of 2 black keys, the note to the left is C, always. C. So it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Then you have C sharp. If the note has a sharp, you go to the right, like you sit on something sharp, you jump up. If you go flat, down, like your tire goes flat on a car. So this note can be C sharp or D flat, F sharp or G flat. All right. And I'm assuming at this point, if you want to learn chords, you probably already know that. But if you didn't, that's just a little quick explanation. So let's say I want to play a C chord. In a music book, the chords are usually above the melody line. They're in a little box, and that means you're going to play a C chord with that note, and you're going to hold it until you get over to the F chord over here, and that's when you'll change. So the chords are all written above the melody lines. So the first chord in the song we just saw is a C chord. So if it's just a plain C by itself, it'll be major, 43. That means 4 half steps and 3 half steps. So any note you put your hand on, if I put my finger on an F, I don't count the F as a number. That's just the name of the chord. From there, I count up, excuse me, we all have flu in California. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's an F chord. All right, if I want to play a D chord, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you notice that D chord has a black note in the middle. And right now it doesn't matter what it's called. You just know that it's right because it fits the pattern. If I start on a black note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's an F sharp or a G flat chord. All right? Now, had I known that years ago, it would have been so easy to go on from there. Now, the minor chords, if you have a capital letter with a little M next to it, that would be a minor chord. So I think of it this way. Major chord is 43. Minor chord is just flip it over. It's one minor little change, 34. So look, if I start on F and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's an F minor chord. Major chord, minor chord. You'll quickly notice that that's the middle note of a root position chord flatted. Okay, so D, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you notice minor chords sound kind of dark and spooky and dreary sounding. Okay? Diminished chord, if you see C, D, I, M, or sometimes they'll put a C minus, or sometimes, well, you'll see all kinds of different, but usually it's D, I, M. That's 33. To diminish something means to make smaller. So that's the two smallest numbers, 33. So if I start on F, I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right? So here's F major, F minor, F diminished. Now in my book it'll explain why, but right now it doesn't matter because you just want to cheat and be able to play any chord that you see. Augmented is 44. If you augment something, it means make it bigger. So that's the two biggest numbers, 44. So F augmented is F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, D augmented, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, see how easy it is? So now any chord that you see in any song, even really advanced books, like any of the Reader's Digest books, and you look at it and you see an A flat diminished, and you go, oh my gosh, well, you can get out this book and you can look it up. Here's A flat, and here's diminished down here, and here's the way it looks, and it's all inverted and changed around, and it makes no sense. With this method, A flat diminished is really easy. Find A flat, look at the rule, diminished is 33. So we go A flat, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now there's diminished seventh chords, and you know, you can get, a lot of people will say, well, you're supposed to play it as a seventh. It doesn't matter right now, you're a beginner. So just play 3 notes, and that will give you that diminished chord. If I want to play an F sharp augmented chord, go to augmented, it's 44. Find an F sharp note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't even matter if you know what the names of the notes in the chord are. That is all you need to know at this point. Now, when we start our series, you'll find that the chords have 3 positions. Once you learn them, like C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 notes that are always in a C chord, C, E, and G. I can play them with the C on top, and I can play them with the C in the middle. And if I turn it back over, I'm right back to my cheaty chord, which is the root position chord. The reason it's called the root position is because the name of the chord is at the bottom, or like the root of a tree. It's at the base of the chord. And that's the premise for this class. You're learning all the chords in the root position. When I took piano lessons, my teacher never called them a chord. She called them triads. Tri meaning 3 notes added together. So I just learned that C chord, which is 43. 3 chords and a ding, I call it. Then I learned G, and then I learned D, and I learned them in the right order. But if you want a D, you go D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You can can block them. Great exercises, and we'll learn this all more in the series as we get going. Then you'll learn to take the chord and make an octave out of it. And then your music starts to get G chord, C, A minor, G, and all I'm doing is rolling the chords. So those are all things that we're going to learn in the upcoming weeks. So order your book so you have something to look, because I can't put all of that book on the screen here when we're talking. So if you have the book to follow along with, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more. So it's called My Emergency Chord Book, First Aid Chord Book. It starts with day 1. I don't know anything. It's written for keyboards, which we use a lot more in versions. And it is also written for piano. So there's 2 different sections. So if you're a piano player, you might learn it a little bit differently than a keyboard player would, because keyboards usually, if you're using rhythms and stuff, you don't want to play all your chords in the root position. So stick with me, and I'll see you again in our next session. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It's very quick and easy. I wish someone would have told me this years ago when I was learning how to play the piano. I learned chords the hard way, and learning them this way gets you off to just a great start. When you're ready to move on with our next series, you might want to consider getting this book. This is the book that we're going to use in the series. It's my First Aid Chord Kit. It starts with day 1, I don't know anything, and takes you all the way through the circle and how it works. Also, it comes with 2 DVDs. These classes were done in a group setting, but they're really fun classes. They're not as detailed as the one that we're doing in our next series, but we laugh and we joke and we play, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. So you can order these books on our website at www.sacramentomusicgroup.com. Or you can go to our store website. The store's now closed, but we still have the website. It's www.musicinnewcastle, all one word, no spaces in between, .com, and you can see it on the screen there. So if you go on there, it puts my older videos in sequence if you click on tutorials. And a lot of people have asked me, how do I find your videos in sequence? And that's probably the best way to do it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again really soon.